He is a chairman, NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress of Ogun State, and he's here to set the agenda for Nigerian workers. That is our topic this morning, setting agenda for Nigerian workers. You're welcome, comrade.
Thank you. Good morning.
Simiat.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, comrade, for being here. This is one of the most important conversations that most workers in Nigeria will be interested in. And because you're representing us in Ogun State, that's NLC in Ogun State, maybe we should start from the note of where the point of negotiation has gotten to right now. Whether we are getting our 615,000 naira as agreed, or it's something else. What state are you now in the negotiation table?
Thank you very much, moderator. Everybody is waiting for new living wage anyway. But let me quickly report to you that the tripartite committee, they are reconvening today, Wednesday 15th.
Okay.
So all workers are very anxious to hear from them. Comprehend them. Let us see what they are going to bring forth after today's meeting.
So beyond the conversation of the negotiation at this moment, there are different, news reports that we're getting from different parts of the country. Some are talking about, protesting, and of course, this morning I just read where the federal government is talking about responding to the agitation of NLC that they are going to protest, saying that you should not take us back, which is related to the electricity tariff. Is that also part of what you're negotiating with? Is that part of the demands of NLC going to that meeting today?
No, the tripartite meeting is basically and singularly to negotiate the new living wage of Nigerian workers. The issue of tariff came in unexpectedly, and the leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress and that of TUC felt it is proactive enough for them. It is going to be proactive for them to act immediately, and that is the reason why you saw all the picketing we did in all the 36 states and the FCT, in expressing our displeasure and our condemnation to that attitude of, increasing the electricity tariff and the disparity in bands, band A, B, C, whatever. So we said no to this, and that's the reason why you just saw that protest on Monday. It has nothing to do with today's meeting. Today's meeting is basically on living wage, because I won't call it minimum wage.
Okay.
I always pray that Nigerian workers get a living wage. A living wage is different from minimum wage. So once we have a living wage, we will all be better. We will be better off living and having savings. In this Nigeria today, hardly you see a civil servant that can boast of, I am having a saving of so thousand. The little we are taking, we are collecting it with right hand, and they are taking it from the other side. So it's not even a minimum wage. It's not a minimum wage. I don't want to use the language we use in Labour Palace, but I will use it here because this is I'm on TV. It's not a minimum wage. Thank you.
Okay, I want to still stay with the picketing of these schools and all that. What is the way forward now? Since you went out on Monday, and we can see that some of these offices were closed. There were placards pasted on their gates, and we were wondering what happened. Later on, we got the news that they had to do this so that there could be some sanity. So what have you brought out of this picketing? What should Nigerians expect now that you have done this?
Well, we are still awaiting NIREC. That is Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to reverse their decision, or let me say to reverse their proposed decision of increasing the electricity tariff. And we have equally called on the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. They held their FEC meeting Monday and Tuesday. It was concluded yesterday. I know a decision will have been taken, and I'm very sure it will be communicated to our national leaderships, the TUC and NSC, which will eventually be conveyed to all the state council. We are only saying that there shouldn't be disparity in the consumer who is using electricity tariff.
Okay.
I've never heard of bringing some set of Nigerians to one band and leaving other to another band. That is criminal. It is criminal in nature. We are all Nigerians. We are all paying tax. If I am a civil servant, if somebody is selling, is an orange seller, we are all equal before the law. And the two individuals must be protected by law. So the issue of band A, band B, band whatever is uncalled for. It's uncalled for, and it's completely rejected by labor organization. We don't want it. The best they can do is to increase their, the generation and distribution, and to perfect their distribution for every Nigerian to have a taste of dividend of democracy through electricity generation. So that is it.
Part of the argument of the discos and, of course, the electricity sector is largely a function of what they can actually give to who can actually pay as well. And some are saying that if you actually want electricity, it is expensive anywhere in the world. And of course, that reality is what they are probably alluding to, that it is expensive to generate, it is expensive to distribute, and it is expensive to meet the needs of over 200 million Nigerians when it comes to supplying electricity. How do you create a balance between what the argument is and your own argument that it is discriminatory, it is violation of rights, as some people actually took discourse to courts because of that discrepancies?
Well, their assertion is not tenable, because we are the least person here will be over 40, and we have been on this act for the past decades, many decades, and we are all living witnesses in those days when NEPA used to be NEPA. We are getting light. Though there are some other, there are some teething issues during that time, but we are still getting light, electricity supply better than today. And we are in the global world where technology has taken a lot of shapes. And we expected NIREC, whoever that is involved in giving us electricity, to be proactive enough to do justice to where justice should be done. If you are now saying some people can pay, some cannot pay, it is not my problem. If they cannot pay, it is your problem. In a situation whereby we went to our working place and coming back home, we discovered that they have already cut our line and eventually took over the wires to their offices. Eventually, we go because the consumer go there, get the wire, pay exorbitantly. So they can't tell us that they cannot enforce payment. Okay. It is just a mere excuse. It is not acceptable. You see, this is a country where federal government has a purpose, a very genuine purpose of privatization of, electricity sector. It's a very good one. Are you getting me? Somebody who brought that privatization has a purpose of doing that. But by the time you put in Nigerians into some certain position of authority, you start seeing a lot of dramas. Because if I am over 50, if I can witness what happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago, compared to this, it is very, very bad. If they can decentralize electricity and we are still having this result, it is nobody's fault, it is their fault. Are you getting me? If they want to collect their money from anybody, they know what to do to get it right. So they cannot come over and be telling us that excuses of some campaign. To me, I don't see that one to be a very plausible reason. So I think the best they can do is to continuously be productive in that sector. There is a particular sector that generates electricity. There is another one that is selling electricity. Are you getting me? They have to come over and be alive to that, their responsibility, as it is being stipulated in the bill that establishes that particular sector. So I will not subscribe to the point that electricity can only be given to those who can pay. We are Nigerians.
How do they determine that?
No. I don't just even know. It is just a way. To me, it is a tactics to provide more generation of electricity to some certain Nigerians, leaving a majority. They are only trying to bring class or classes into electricity distribution, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Those who are in the area, tell me, we have some area that has never even seen a ball. Are you getting me? And they are living, and they are not complaining. But if they are alive to their responsibility, by now, all those who are supposed to have been energized. Are you getting me? And you can see today people are no more even interested in the generation of electricity. They are going on solar. Everything is on solar. And that is to tell you that discos, Nairek, Gencos, they are failed Nigerians. Sincerely, they are failures. And that's the reason why Nigerian labor, organized labor in Nigeria is calling for reversal of that privatization. It's better we go back to where we are coming from. If where we are today is not favorable, we go back to where we are coming from. That is the position of labor.
All right, now let's go back to the issue of living wage. I want to know why the Labour Congress is going away from minimum wage and calling it living wage. Why are you?
We have to live. Not only living, we have to live the way we should be living as a civil servant. We are the engine room of the government. We are the propelling force of the society. So definitely, if I'm doing a lot of jobs, you can see you are here. I'm very sure it is not now that you have been on program. You have left your home, better in the morning. I am here, living some other things. If I'm rendering this kind of services to the Nigerians, we must be well paid. When you say minimum wage means just take to manage. It is not maximum. They say minimum. This money, take it and manage. But when you say living wage, the money that you take at the end of the month, that you will have savings. There is no Nigerian worker that can boast of having a savings of ₦1 million after at the end of a year of 2, 3, 4 years. You can't have it because the one you are taking, before you take it, you have already gone. You have a lot of clients that you are going to pay. You have a lot of outstanding debt here and there. Bills is there. And when you go by the calculation, you can see the summary, the collective summary of the organized labor requesting for 650. Go and look that analysis very well. There is no particular context of that variable that is, that is overbloated. It is what is. It is reality. Are you getting me? If we are bringing that kind of price to you and you are saying you are not sincere, we are not serious, why can't you bring your own? We are giving you, this is what you want to take. Where's your own term? Okay, we can't afford this. This is what we can afford. That is negotiation. We are not forcing you to take 750. But if you have the terms, okay, I have 100,000 I want to pay. Then we start negotiation. That is collective bargaining. So we deserve living wage.
So in actual fact, the negotiation committee has not started negotiating.
They have started negotiating.
Okay.
They were almost, at the verge of concluding. Before the whole scenario, because every one of us were expecting that the president of Abeokuta, Nigeria, Tinubu, will pronounce on the 1st of, there are rumors, there are insinuations that he's going to pronounce on the 1st of May. But our chagrin, we discovered that 2 days to that time, the president had traveled. And we thought maybe the vice president is having his mandate to come and pronounce. The next thing we saw, few hours to the workers' day, was this issue of giving them, to me, I will refer to it as wage award.
Okay.
Yes. That's if anybody is pronouncing any amount without collective bargaining, it's wage award. It's wage award. They start pronouncing, this state pronounce, this other state pronounce. You see, it's just a way of diverting the entire interest of Nigerian workers from the point of collective bargaining. And we can't take that anyway.
Okay.
So they are resuming today to finalize on the
Today is the 15th. Yes. You gave a deadline of May 31st.
So the 1st.
And of course, some people argue along your path, like you described now, that living wage is what Nigerian workers actually should be getting. And some are talking about how feasible is that for the government to pay and the private sector as well to pay that living wage that you are describing. And there are other issues with respect to some state government not actually implementing the last minimum wage review, which is the 30,000 naira. And we don't know what Labour is doing to that, and we don't know how practicable it is for us to have something called living wage in Nigeria. Is it that the government cannot pay it? Are they telling you they cannot pay? Are they saying, do you see the implementation level of the last one as something that could make it more practical for them to deal with along the line?
My dear sister, let me tell you this. No government will tell you is having money. There is no government that will come out and say, I have money to pay. And before they can eventually inaugurate this tripartite committee, definitely they will have gotten some succor somewhere. And no government will come out and tell you, I have money. This money I have from Edo State governor, telling us that their IGR has increased from 10 to 26 billion. It is all states that are having increase in IGR. But they won't come out to pronounce and say, oh, my IGR is this, because they know the aftermath implication. Let me tell you, the private sector you mentioned, as I'm seated here, we have a lot of private sector that are even paying better than some states. Garbage in, garbage out. It is what you buy that you sell. Private sector cannot complain. They cannot complain because they know. When
you say the private sector cannot complain, is it all those are the private?
There are different ways. I know there are categories. Are you getting me? And they have a joint, they have a joint body.
We have reports of people not even paying the minimum wage.
Some states.
In some private sectors, some companies are not even paying that amount. The implementation.
If they are not paying, that means that company is casualizing. And in fact, to me, I have not gotten a report of that.
Okay.
Any company that is not paying minimum of 30,000, that company to me is casualizing our workers. Are you getting me? Some states who are not paying. We are still paying less than 30,000 in various states, and that's the reason why this time around, if you can remember, October 2, when agreement of that 16 bullet agreement was agreed on, they quickly took that agreement to the court. And the kind of leadership we are having, you see for Nigeria today in Nigeria, they are super and genius comrades who knows what they are doing. I want to preempt them. Any agreement they reach on this living wage definitely is going to NIC for ratification as a consent judgment. I know, because we want to run away from the era of Oguse paying 30,250 and some states still paying 7,008, 9,008. We want to regularize it, and that's the reason why the tripartite committee is important. They want to consider the private sector is there, the state government is there, federal government is there. Are you getting me? So there must be a benchmark. A benchmark must be agreed upon by those parties and signed. And once a benchmark is being agreed, say, let us go for 120,000 minimum. There is no state that is expected to pay less than 120,000. That is the implication. But if you say, go and pay 100,000, and you are coming back to your state and pay 50,000, definitely with the kind of leadership we are having now, because I know the agreement will surely go to NIC. For a consent judgment. If any governor does that, that governor is liable. It's liable to be tried before. It might be after his whatever. But I want to tell you, the organized labor in any state will not take that. Once we have been instructed that the minimum is 120,000, we will ensure that we go by that instruction.
So is the 615? Is it reliable?
They have never come to tell us that they don't have it. That is our proposal, and it is not Nigerian Labour Congress alone. It is joint point of negotiation, both TUC and NNC. And if government is not having the money to pay, they must come out and tell us you can't pay. This is what you can pay, and that is what is called negotiation.
With the body language of the federal government, do you see them paying or not paying?
If they are not serious in giving us living wage, they won't be calling for the meeting.
Okay.
They knew that things are hard. Nigerians are suffering. There is none of the government that has ever mentioned that. Even our governor said it, that I know what you are passing through. And that's the reason why our governor has been going all around to bring in a lot of intervention programs. As a palliative here, palliative there, palliative, at least to alleviate the suffering of Ogun State indigenes. Are you getting me? So they can't tell us they can't pay. We know they have the money. And if they don't have the money, they have to come to the table and tell the Chamber Committee, we don't have this restriction, we have 200. And from there, they get to a point of decision.
Okay,
okay, you can go ahead.
All right, that will take us to another question, another angle to all of this we have been talking about. That is overburdening the Nigerian workers with such that there are different levies to pay, there are different taxes to pay. If you buy this, there are taxes to pay. If you buy this, there are taxes. This living wage, you want to be the same thing as the minimum wage that we want to leave behind, and the living wage will become a minimum wage at the long run. Looking at the taxes, levies, that will be on the new wage that will be collected.
It can be. To me, it can be. When we are saying living wage, there's no way you see, there are different levies everywhere, but the recent one, the cyber security, whatever, that we immediately, criticize that. And the President of the Republic instructed CBN to revert it, and it was immediately reverted. So I cannot say that once a living wage is given to Nigerian workers, it will eventually, a lot of deductions here and there will erode the purpose of that living wage to a minimum wage. I won't subscribe to that. It is a practical thing. By the time we get there, we see what is going to happen. Anybody that is bringing obnoxious and a very funny levy on Nigerian workers, we are there. That's the purpose of Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress. We will fight it all headlong, and to make sure that it is reverted to the status quo. I don't believe.
So Nigerian workers should not fret.
They should be hopeful that something good is coming. They should be hopeful.
So still talking about the different taxes that we're getting to hear from different angles, government ruling out this and that. Some have said that instead of labor actually fighting for the increment of the minimum wage, or whatever wage we are calling it now, maybe it is living wage or so, we should talk about something to control the prices of goods and services in the country, such that you wouldn't have to talk about, increment in this and that, healthcare system, talking about insurance for civil servant or for Nigerians at all levels, talking about cost of things. It should be regulated such that we won't have to be talking about the need to increase salaries at every levels to meet the required, and of course the benchmark that we have right now in the country. I don't know whether you subscribe to that, or this is just the only way we can keep rolling in the country to get.
Thank you. This is Nigeria, and Nigeria is one of the countries within the globe. And what is happening here in Nigeria is happening all over the globe. The economic can I call it the present situation of economy is not only happening here, it's happening everywhere. The decision of controlling of price, it is not new. Before our birth, we have gotten what we call Price Commodity Regulatory Board, having different names everywhere. The only thing I can say is that those boards are not functional. Those boards are not functional. I can still remember that of Cocoa Price Regulatory Commission, sort of. The price of cocoa in Nigeria is the same. It's going to be the same in Ghana, but it is not so this time around. Because why? The enforcement to ensure that those commission or board or whatever do their job is not there. It's not there. And that's the reason why you see Mr. A selling price B, Mr. B selling price C. People are selling different prices and giving you different reason for selling those prices. The best we can have is for the federal government and state government, even local government, to come up. If those boards are no more, they should come up with different marketing or marketing regulatory boards all over. To the level of Gary, you can still remember during the time of Buhari, Diagbon era, I think yes, when we have this universal plastic. that we're still using now. And in Ogun State, you see the logo there. It is that plastic that you must use to sell whatever commodity you're selling. But what happened after that? People are just using any plastic to sell to you. And when you look at the plastic they are using, in fact, it's almost half of the original plastic given to them by this regulatory body. And the regulatory body are still alive. They're not doing anything.
Implementation.
Yeah, that is it. They have to enforce the implementation of their regulations. So it lies in the hands of the government.
When you check the news this morning, you have a report saying that tax now the highest revenue source to federal government. It's okay when the president supported Nigerian people by putting away the cybersecurity levy that we're going to be charged. And of course, now when you have a report like this saying that right now they're actually making more money on taxation than any other places as a source of revenue in Nigeria. And of course, this comes from Nigerian workers. Directly or indirectly, you're getting that. And of course, see that you're not working on the established or the old taxes that they've been levied against Nigerian workers, or that it is just the new ones that you kick against.
No, there is a law. There is a tax law. So you understand? Tax law, as long as that particular tax is embedded in tax law, we can't do anything. We can't do anything against that. But once we know that this one is orchestrated and it is artificial, we will kick against it. And that is what recently happened in the area of the cybersecurity, levy. That you see, it is quite unfortunate that in Nigeria, you see, somebody will just sit down, wake up one morning and say, this is the way, let us do this. And nobody is checking them. Nobody's checking them.
Nigerians actually expect the labor leaders to check them, because that's why the allegations that labor unions these days are over-romanticizing the government. And of course, they talk about the politicization of the labor unions as well. And you see government people, putting their people at this different unions level, such that
using the divide and rule approach
to do what they are doing. I don't know how you see this, whether this is true
the information is
or not. That
after my exit as the chairman of Labour Congress, they will still continue to say the same thing. But one thing I know is this: those fights you are seeing, organized labor fighting, are legitimate.
Okay.
If you know that this fight will not fly, we won't do that, because we will not like anything that will, demean our dignity. Are you getting me? Let me tell you, there is no way to it as long as we have information. Once the information gets to the table of the national president of TIFS and NSC, the next thing is investigation. Then we investigate. And once we investigate that particular scheme is out of law, we will kick against. That is true. The issue of romancing government, this and that, I'm telling you.
And it is bringing trust issues between the workers and the labor.
That is the reason why I used to tell Nigerian workers, appreciate your leader, pray for them. Pray for them. You don't know what you are facing. You don't know what you are passing through. You don't know the time we are using in order to get some things done for the least worker. But today, they want magic. And magic cannot be gotten from this, political class.
Is it about magic, or largely about how the unions has been operating before now? Talking about the earlier confrontation, stages where you see them say that no, this is so that at the end of the day, what they are saying is that government won't take labor leaders serious if the romance is still on, such that you put something out. And of course, you expect government to implement a particular policy, and you want them to listen to you. Definitely, you're not expected to be in such a good
Okay, let me ask you a question. As a labor leader, if you're a labor leader, wait now, I will ask you a question. If you're a labor leader, and there's a problem in OGTV that affects some workers there, you don't want to move closer to government. How do you solve it?
Exactly.
How do you solve it? You have to move closer to government.
Okay.
Let me give you this.
Is that the tactics you're using now?
The system we are using in Ogun State,
okay,
it might be different from that in Abia.
Okay.
Are you getting me? But the system we are operating here is regular consultation and interface. That is what we are using.
And it's giving
us results. Yes, it's giving me results. In fact, all whatever they will ask government of today is, to me, I inherited it. The only thing I've not got it from Dr. Abeokuta's regime, during my regime, is major word. Go and ask. As I'm seated here, they have gotten 2024 March to March leave bonus. The leave bonus that is outstanding, I inherited it. If they have been applying the system I'm using, it won't be as much as that. Are you getting me? You don't wait for problem. You don't wait for Christ. You don't wait for people calling you to an attention before you rise to government. You have to move closer to them through the office of the head of service. And that is what I'm using. There's no week that the three of us, TUC, NSC, and JSC, that will not visit the office of the head of service. We are not going there to play Ludo. We are going there to tell them, this is the situation of workforce. This is our demand. How far about this? How far about this? How far about this? And things moving from there. So people they have freedom to their opinion. But
no, it's really not about people. It's largely about communication. When they see
you do those things, you come back to feedback.
You talk about why this is working, and if this is working, it's a strategy that's
working. It's working. Let me say this. By the time the transport palliative was about to be initiated, we have written several letters. At a point, His Excellency said, yes, I need to meet labor. And he called on us, yes, we know what you are passing through. We want to do this, want to do this, want to do this. And immediately he inaugurated a committee headed by the Deputy Governor. And I want to tell you, it took us 3 hours and we finalized everything. And there and then we arrived to that 10,000 palliative, monthly transport palliative.
Not like the low.
During the time of the recent approved, I think, peculiar that was given to public, civil servant, there was no stress. We didn't have much stress as labor, as an organized labor. We just discussed at the table of head of service. The memo was raised, and I learned the memo was rejected twice by His Excellency, believing that there's no money to pay that money. Once we realized that they have gotten a chunk of money and the thing is going to be continuous, he was the one that requested that, where is that your file? Are you getting me? Actually, there are some talks within the government that they have to see to our salary. The disparity is much. This is this. This is that. The next we hear was the head of service calling on us that congratulations, so the cooler has been approved. And we started having it. Because if we have kept quiet, the interpretation to government is you are comfortable.
You are comfortable.
And that has been my watchword. I will never be quiet to demand or to press the demand of my workers at every given time. If I'm meeting His Excellency at that corridor, 1 or 2, 3, I will share with him. Because I know he might not be privileged to have most of these things at his fingertips. There was a day we are having this a program, I think when the Vice President came, we went to the podium, we greeted him. Instantly, I requested 2 or 3 things there with my colleagues. That is the game. You don't live there not that to have breathing space, but you must continue to engage government time to time. So as for them to know that these people are still there, if this money comes, don't forget these people. They are there.
All right. Talking about engaging the government. Now, the federal government plans a performance-based salary scheme and for workers, and is saying that these salaries that the civil servant will collect money according to their productivity. Is NLC buying into this?
It is funny. Don't let me comment on that. It's funny, and it's just a jest. It's a jest of itself. Forget about that. It's impossible. We are not factory workers where you clock. If you are a factory worker, you clock in, you clock out. We are not factory workers.
So what you've
we will kick against it.
What don't you think that will bring more productivity if the federal government is saying it is what you do that you'll be paid for? Don't you think a lot of
people... Are you not saying that some civil servants are not doing their job? We are doing every one of us are doing their job. We are doing our jobs.
I understand the fact that you are protecting, civil servants.
I'm not protecting them. They are doing their job. You are doing your job.
Exactly the point. At the same time, there are different allegations as to, you recall the last time the IPPIS was introduced, even though kicked against by different union leaders, unions in Nigeria, they talked about ghost workers being, taken out of the system because some people were actually benefiting from this particular system. So if there is a law to say that if we have not been clocking you in before now, we do not say that you're not working. We believe you're doing your jobs, but because of the people that want to circumvent the law along the line to benefit from the loopholes there, let us start this, and this is what we should have. Is that not? Should that not be?
My sister, let me tell you, it cannot work. Are you getting me? If they have gotten some workers who are not really effective or who are not delivering the service expected of them, there are different rules.
Okay.
Are you getting me? They can apply.
Okay, give us an example of the rule.
They can suspend them. They can tell them to face, to face panels. And the recommendation of the panel will be taken to, will be used on them accordingly. And no worker, no government, no comrade, no leader, no union leader will come and be soliciting for that kind of ineffectiveness. We don't harbor, we don't encourage laziness. Are you getting me? Whatever you are going to earn, you have to work for it. That is the thing. Nobody will say because you have my friend, please don't go to work. I won't take that. Are you getting me? I too, if I have a company and I'm paying some staff, I expect them to do what is expected of them. The issue of bringing in the work so this salary, disparity in salary is going to create another crisis. And no labor leader will take that.
Okay. If
because we are representing the entire workers.
We understand that. If it is going to create, some talked about development in every developed state right now. And they talk about this gradual movement from the usual to the unusual, which is far better than what we are experiencing. Are you going to allow anything to change the status quo with what they are bringing?
Let me tell you something. Before computer, everything is done on white and black. Manually. With the introduction, the influx of computer today, we are still using manual. And computer has taken off a lot of workers' hand off duty because of just because of introduction of technology. And nobody's complaining that. Are you getting me? If they have another super technology that will make workers to be more effective, we will encourage that.
Okay.
Are you getting me? Because there are different ways to services now. We have got to the situation whereby they use robot to clear land, to harvest. This, if they can bring that to increase the productivity of every worker, we will encourage it. But what we are saying is, we have been delivering our services, and we have been so assiduous in duty. I think what we need from the government is to, when I'm greasing your palm, you grease mine. Make us happy.
Okay.
Make us happy, and that's the reason why we are calling for a living wage. Once we make workers happy, workers will be very happy to deliver even more than what they are doing today. Okay,
another angle to all of this is talking about the contributory pension scheme of the federal government. How do you see the scheme? Is it still practicable? Can we still use it
now? The federal government or state government?
The federal government and the state government.
Well, I can't say a federal government because to some federal parastatal is working, they are using it. But in our state, it has been reviewed during the time of Senator Abeokuta to 1st of July 2025 as the termination period. But I've been saying it on, I think I've said it severally here. Let me reiterate what I've said. There was a committee that have been put in place by this government, and the report is ready, and we have started using other ways around to ensure that we discuss with His Excellency to look into the report holistically and make sure that it came out with a very good decision, declaration that we turn everybody's life, positively. Let me say this: there are different actions expected in that scheme that, as I'm talking to you, that has not been put in place. So invariably, I wouldn't know what is going to happen between 2024 and 2025. But our prayer is still there. So don't let me preempt what government is going to do. So by the time we have our declaration from him, everybody will hear. So what we are expecting is, let us see how the declaration will affect individual retirees meaningfully. Because I cannot just imagine a situation whereby somebody retired for 35 years and eventually went to his home without having any benefit of working for 35 years. It is very, 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 very pathetic and criminal. So don't let us preempt the report. Let us wait for His Excellency to pronounce. And I'm using this opportunity to call on our dear governor, who is workers friendly, very passionate and compassionate governor, who has been listening to all our agitations positively, to beam his searchlight on that particular report. CPS is not his problem. He was not the one that created that problem. He inherited it. And he must not carry the burden of past regimes. And that's the reason why we are bringing that report before him, to let him see why he has to do justice to that report. At the end of the day, I want to tell you, if the report is to the tone of the committee's tone, every worker says... Can
we have a little peep into the report?
No. I won't
don't want to do that.
I'm a member of that committee. I won't give you.
Okay.
As a labor leader, I know what is there, and I know what you have proposed. We have 2-3 options there. What you have proposed, 2 of those options are favorable to every Nigerian worker.
Okay, as we are trying to round off the program, let's also look at the desirability of state governors to pay whatever it is that the union leaders, the tripartite committee is agreeing on today or meeting on today at the end of the day. Let's look at the practicability now.
You like money.
Before now, there is always the controversy around, it's only federal government that can pay, we cannot pay. But now, some said new sheriff is in town. This administration is not going to be like that. I don't know if you're that optimistic at this stage that they will definitely pay whatever
and other states too. And some state governors have come out to say they can pay 70,000.
That is wage award.
So what are we saying about state government?
There is no governor that will tell you that he has money. And before they can say they are going to bring up a living wage, the money is there. And federal government cannot say go and pay 200,000 and be giving them what they are earning now as their FAC. Definitely the FAC will increase. Are you getting me? As I'm talking to you, they have increased their FAC. And nobody's talking about increasing FAC. The allocation for Abeokuta, they have increased it. I know government will come out and say, from 5 billion, I'm now getting 7 billion. Nobody will tell you. If they know the money is not there, they won't propose living wage. That is my position. And for other states that fail to oblige or to adhere to whatever decision taken by our national leadership through the tribal committee, any leadership of TUC or NSC or GNC in any state that go contrary, definitely that leadership must be sacked. Yes, it must be sacked. You see, to negotiate minimum wage or living wage is extremely very, very difficult. And once it is gotten from Abuja, circularizing to the state, we must equally do what they have done there to ensure that what is expected of us in the state is gotten. What
if any state government is proving adamant, saying there's no money? What will happen to the government?
Let us wait and see the state that will be adamant. The entire Nigerian workers' forces will go to that state and demobilize that state.
With the 30,000 naira, I don't think it's all of...
Yes, that one has come and gone.
What have you done?
Well, you can still recall the issue of Imo. Exactly. You can still recall the issue of Rivers. The organized labor in Rivers, in Imo, and like that. and it's giving us results.
The issue of strike actions now, it's largely something that bothers most Nigerians. You know, it's even government don't want you to go on strike. The moment you threaten to go on strike, it's more like, can we do away with strike? To, you know, you talk about negotiating, you know, pushing your positions, and of course you look at the tactics you've been using in Ogun State, for instance, getting things done. Can we apply more of that and not go
confrontations?
My dear sister, nobody likes strike. Even we labor leaders, we don't like strike. In a situation whereby you are writing a government, requesting for this, or requesting for this topic, or requesting for the other one, you wrote falsely, you send a reminder, second time, you send another third time. What next? What next? Even the letter we are writing, they are not even acknowledging it. What next? The only language they hear in Nigerian context is strike. There's no way to it until you tell Nigerians political class to change their style.
And then at the end of the day, the people is in their hands. The people you're trying as much as possible to save is largely the victims of the strike, you know, at the end of the day, because at the end of the day they say it doesn't get to them, the people you're targeting the strike for. If there is no fuel, if there is no electricity,
who are those people? Are they not workers?
If there is no electricity, for instance, it's the people that should get the service. The big man would
the picketing will lead on the picketing will lead on this for the entire Nigerians. When the issue of this orchestrated scarcity of fuel happened recently, we came out, we criticized NNPCL, and it was restored. It is for the entire Nigerians. If they are saying it's not coming to them, they are not on the payroll of the government. They are getting their own money from us through their services. So more or less, we are into it together. We have formal and informal sector of economy that we are
saying, okay, as we round up now, we have just 2 minutes to leave the program. What economic agenda should the Nigerian government set for workers? Because we know that all of this we are talking about is about the economy, is about living well, and is about productivity. How should the federal government go about this economic agenda being set for everybody in Nigeria?
The only thing I would tell Nigerian government is to reform. All the sector that is not performing to the expectation should be reformed. And by the time they reform it, you will see, you will get the result. Are you getting me? Obasanjo did it in almost over 30 sectors, and it is working. They must go back to that reform and reform most of this economy. Once it's done, we will get result. And specifically, dollarization. They must give us, the lasting solution to the issue of, this exchange naira to dollar. Recently it must come down.
The Orosei report, the federal government, plan to have actually adopted it. So how do you see that?
Let us wait
moving
and see.
forward.
Let's wait and see.
That's part of the revolution.
I know that one is another bomb. If they bring it.
You talked about reform, and that's
no. When I'm talking reform, not to adopt a necessary report. A necessary report is just a report of a committee.
Okay.
If they want to reform the Nigerian, civil service, there are different ways to that. And they cannot adopt a necessary report without the consent of Nigerian workers and leaders.
I granted an interview for a past head of service, and she talked about the fact that servant is in civil is also part of the problem. Do you see that?
So how should civil servants behave themselves going forward now? If the 615 will be dropping now, what should be the way that workers should reciprocate for the
I've said it here. Let me just give it out straight. The Nigerian workers, let us put in our best. Let us continue to pray for our leaders and put your trust in them. And I know by the time this new living wage is arriving, definitely without being told, productivity will surely increase.
All right. I hope that Nigerian workers are really waiting for the 615,000 naira, and we hope the Labour Congress will pull through. We wish you well in your meeting later on today. Thank you for coming, Honorable Ahmed Benko Ademola, the chairman.
Comrade, I'm not honorable. I've never contested it.
All right, we're sorry for that, Comrade Ahmed Benko Ademola. He is the chairman, Nigerian Labour Congress, Ogun State here, and he has been talking with us for 1 hour on the interview segment of the New Dawn Senior Tabaru. Thank you for coming on the program.
Okay, thank you for being a part of New Dawn today. So we'll be back on Friday, same time, same station. Keep watching The People's Study. Bye for now.
Your eye is an important part of your body that needs regular care. Everyone relies on their eyes to see and make sense of the world. Caring for your eyes now could prevent early blindness and vision impairment. Exposing your eyes to generator smoke or any kind of smoke could lead to cataract and damage of your optic nerve. Staring at screen for too long can cause eye strain, blurry vision, headache, and dry eyes. Good eye health starts with the food we eat. To protect your eyes, ensure you visit the doctor regularly for checkups. Wear some protective